Thanks, Irfan. So today I'm going to speak to you guys about working internationally, and I was very happy when I was invited to speak about it because it's a subject that really is my passion. So I hope that after this presentation today I will have encouraged some of you to consider an international career. Just a few quick words about myself. I'm doing my third year here, and just like Irfan, I went to Hong Kong last year for the exchange, so thank you for bringing back so many memories. I didn't go traveling as much as you did, but I wish I would have. So I'd encourage everybody to go down there for a year as well. The thing I'm going to speak about mostly today is my internship I did last summer in Switzerland for Procter & Gamble, and I'm going to be joining them full-time now later this year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to get an internship abroad, how to work internationally, and hopefully, like I said, encourage some of you to consider an international career. Now, why should you go and work abroad? I think that's a very important question, and if anybody here has ever studied finance, you will come across the theory of capital market efficiency. Now, that says that if there are a lot of people staring at the market all day trying to find mispriced stocks that you should buy, it's going to be almost impossible to find some stocks that will give you a big profit. Personally, I think that labor markets work in sort of the same way, because if you have a lot of smart people from all over the world applying for one place, it's going to be really hard to find a good job that doesn't kill you with working hours. And to be honest, I think that London is sort of developing to a place like that, because you have people coming from everywhere. I'm Swedish. I thought that when I came here I'd be the only Swedish person applying for jobs, but nope. There are more than 20,000 people coming from Sweden to London every year. There are people from Russia, there are people from China. Every single person in the world wants to come into London and work. And that makes sense. We're all here for a reason. I like the city, but it means that it's very hard. So maybe you should try to look outside of London and see if there are other places that you can find a job in instead. Now, the first time I figured of going abroad to study was during my exchange year in Hong Kong, so I figured if I go down to China, maybe I can find some experiences down there. So I applied for a startup company that was based in Beijing. They were all English people running it, so I figured it's going to be pretty easy just getting an internship. So they offered me a phone interview, but 4 days before the interview, they sent me an email, and they said, "Oh, we looked on your CV, and it says that you're taking a course in Chinese this year." I said, "Yeah, I do." "That's great. That means that we can interview in Chinese." At that point, I studied Chinese for a total of 3 or 4 months. I just done the autumn term, and this was in February. So I had 4 days to learn as much Chinese as possible, and believe me, I tried. I grabbed my Chinese friend, we locked each other into a room, and we were doing more Chinese than I've ever done before. After a while, I thought I was pretty confident, so they called me, did a phone interview, picked up the phone and said, "Ni hao." And they went on speaking, and I didn't understand a single thing, so after that I was pretty given up, and needless to say I didn't get that internship. So, first point of advice, don't apply for jobs in languages that you can't speak. But later, I had another interview experience, and that was for Procter & Gamble. I had applied for some other companies as well, but I had run into some problems with interviews again, because I applied for one big US corporation for a job here in the UK. And I asked them, "But I'm in Hong Kong now, so how can I do the interview? Can I do it over Skype?" They said, "No." "Can you pay for my flight ticket so I can go to UK?" They said, "No." "Can I do the interview in your office in Hong Kong that you have here?" And they said, "No." So there was no way I could do an interview for that company. I'm not going to say which company that was, but it starts with an I and it ends with BM. So that didn't work out too well. But then I applied for Procter & Gamble, and they were a lot more convenient and flexible, because even though I was down in Hong Kong, I got to do my test online first, and then they invited me to the Hong Kong office to do the first written test. So I sat down, did a written test, passed that. Then they helped me find a flight ticket down to Singapore, where they have their global headquarters for the Asia region. So I did my face-to-face interview in there. After that, I went out backpacking around mainland China for a month, and that wasn't any problem either. I just did phone interviews. I did the first phone interview there in Guangzhou, and the second phone interview was up in Anhui in eastern China. So after I've been interviewed in lots of different countries, they called me one day and they said, "Oh, we really want to hire you, you've done great, but there are no places left in the UK." So I was thinking, oh shit, I've done interviews in all these countries and there's nothing I can do. But then they said, "If you want to, you can come and work for us in Switzerland instead." So luckily, I was able to get an internship down in Switzerland, and the place was just amazing, because when you work in a place where you have a lot of expats coming in, you sort of get in with a family feeling. It was extremely relaxed. Nobody wore a suit in the office. People come in like jeans and a t-shirt. That was great. Many people were really young, and they really took care of their interns, because they think that we are the most important people in the company, simply because we are the only guys who have some time to look into the business. Everybody else is just stressed out. And we had a lot of fun. We did some competitions. This picture actually was a photo competition where you're supposed to take a picture of a new brand of toothpaste. So with this picture, I won free toothpaste for an entire year. So I haven't bought any toothpaste for ages now. If you go on YouTube and you search for Geneva Interns 2011, you can see me doing an incredibly bad impersonation of Charlie Chaplin working for Procter & Gamble. But you can check it out if you want to. Made it all in black and white, have piano music and everything. So they do a lot of fun things for their interns. Afterwards, I was off the job, like I said, so I'm going down there to work now. But what I really got out from it was new friends from all over Europe, all over the world, really. Because when you're working internationally, you will see people who are in the same situation as you, so it's a lot easier to get friends. Just like Irfan was saying, when you're an exchange student, you really make international friends. I definitely recommend it. Anybody who's ever had an ambition to go out and working, Procter & Gamble is a great place to start. We're actually doing a recruitment event at King's here on the 21st of March. So if you want to apply for a place at that event, send your CV to pg@kcl@gmail.com. Preferably before this weekend, because they are accepting CVs very, very fast. But if you can make this event, you can still go to pgcareers.com. That link's not. Before the 31st of March. They accept internship applications from all years. So you can be a first, second, third master students, doesn't matter. Any degree, and you can apply to many different places. They still have quite a few places here in the UK, so you can apply there if you want to, before the 31st of March. So, if you want more question about that, you can ask me afterwards. But more generally, about working internationally, 5 tips that I'd really share with you is first, to plan early. I did not do that, so I was lucky to get in with the international career. But try to think about what country you see yourself in, say, in the next 5 years. Where do you want to be? What do you want to become? And then start planning for it. If you do that, you might actually have a chance to learn a language, so that you don't end up doing your job interview in a language you cannot understand, like I did. And also, using LinkedIn is a very, very powerful way, just being able to connect with firms in other countries without having to visit them. Chances are that somebody in your network knows somebody else who is the managing director of a firm in a country that you want to go to, so try to use LinkedIn to your advantage. More importantly, whenever you're applying for jobs, make sure that you find your own strength and see how that can add value to the company. Procter & Gamble is a marketing company, but I don't know anything about marketing. I'm absolutely awful at it. So instead I applied for an internship in finance, because that's something that I could do. Think about what your strengths are and see how you can apply that to any company that you apply for. But most importantly, if you want an international career, you should always say yes. When P&G offered me an internship, I only had about 3 weeks before I was going to start down there. So in 3 weeks' notice, I had to say, yes, I'm coming down, and I had to be on the airplane and just start. So always be ready to say yes. But the biggest tip of all would be to join an organization called ISEC. ISEC is the biggest student-run organization in the world. We have over 60,000 members, and we're active in 110 different countries. What ISEC does is to organize exchange opportunities and internships for students all over the world. So if you're an ISEC member here, you can go on internships in other countries. This list of companies are the partners that we had when I was in ISEC down at Hong Kong University. So it means that if you're a member of ISEC here in the UK, you can go and do internships for all of these firms down in Hong Kong. And that's just for one country, so imagine 110 countries and many different companies in all of them. To join ISEC here is a bit tough on King's because we haven't set up an actual organizational committee here. But you can join at LC. They accept applicants. I'm the vice president of ISEC at LC. And we're now setting it up at KCL. So show of hands, are there any first or second year students? Yeah, quite a few. So for you guys, if you want a leadership position in a new society for next year, come and talk to me after this, and I'll tell you how you can get involved. So that was pretty much what I had to share. Last quote, life's a book, and a person who never travels will only read one single page. And reading one single page in a book doesn't give you anything, does it? So the big question you should be asking yourself is, what's stopping you from growing? Thank you very much.